So today's video is brought to you by my very own coffee, Just a Dad Simple Sip Coffee. It's available in a K-cup, whole bean, and pre-ground 16-ounce bag. You can find it at justadadcoffee.com, or right underneath the video, you will see the products displayed and you can click on them and purchase them right there. I really do enjoy this taste. It's a dark Brazilian roast. It tastes really good. And you can brew it in a K-cup machine, or you can grind your own coffee or have it pre-ground for you. I hope when somebody asks you what your favorite cup of coffee is, that you say Just a Dad Simple Sip Coffee. Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. What is the difference between all of these pods that are coming out nowadays? I've got a K-cup, I got an Nespresso Vertuo pod, and I got the Nespresso VertuoLine pod. I've got the machines here. We're going to describe each one, kind of some taste testing and how they're different. Okay, let's get started. Here's the Nespresso VertuoLine pods. These typically are only for like Nespresso single shots or double shots. You can't make a cup of coffee with them. So here I've done a double shot. These go really good in iced coffees if you want to make a latte or cappuccino. Here we've got the Nespresso again. This is the new Vertuo pod. These you can make a cup of coffee in them or an espresso shot, like a smaller quantity too. And the machine decides all of that for you. You get that crema at the top. Your flavors are kind of limited, although you're starting to get the Starbucks pods in there now. Over here, we got the Keurig Cafe Barista Bar, and this just makes a standard coffee. But with this one, we can also make a shot and an over ice, but these are the K-cups. Close up of the pods, you can see these have aluminum and aluminum foil on the top. Same with this, aluminum foil on the top and aluminum. These are plastic, there's coffee in there, and there's a filter in there also. Okay, let's see how this one did. Again, here's how your coffee's gonna brew. You're gonna poke a hole in the top and the bottom. It's gonna run hot water through a K-cup to give you a coffee, but we can do an espresso shot. It mimics an espresso. It's just a concentrated coffee, like 2 ounces. Over here, this is a really nice machine. Empties the pod out for you. This is the Vertuo pods, and it uses centrifugal force to inject hot water in the middle. It spins the pod and the coffee comes out around the side. It doesn't do anything in the bottom. Now the bottom, that is a barcode. So these are very simple to operate. You put the pod in, you press the button, the machine does all the work. It determines if you have a small pod or a coffee pod by that barcode. And it runs the proper amount of water through there to give you what you want. So if I had, this is an espresso pod, and the tops of them will tell you exactly what they brew. This is 1.35 fluid ounces. So if I put that in there, press the button, I'll get an espresso shot, not a cup of coffee. Okay, the original line. These ones have been around a while. It drops the pod. Let's grab the pod. Now we can see it pokes the foil or the pod at the bottom, and it pokes it a whole bunch up here at the top. Now the water comes in here and the coffee comes out the bottom here. Now with these machines, you typically have to say, what do you want? A single shot or a double shot? Again, they're not going to do a full cup of coffee. This one can do all the way up to an 8 ounce. A K-cup holds 2 tablespoons of coffee. Even though Keurigs have 12 ounces, that's a little weak for me. I like to do around an 8 ounce, maybe a 10 ounce, or maybe even a 6 ounce for a K-cup. That's a really nice cup of coffee. Okay, so let's examine the pods. Here I've got one cut open. You can see it brews the coffee. And here's one before it's been brewed. It's at a kind of it's a little bit finer grind. It is kind of like a medium grind. Here's a typical K-cup. A typical K-cup is going to be ground at a medium grind. And again, after it's brewed, you can see the coffee's still in there. K-cups have a filter in there. These do not have filters, so you may get a little bit of sediment in your coffee. Over here, the original line, it's ground pretty fine. That's like an espresso grind. And then you can see it's kind of, that's what it looks like after it's done brewing. Now, these are the 3 most popular. Now, they do have a lower coffee maker. Now, it's a little different. It'll do coffee. It has its own type of pod. It'll also do Nespresso VertuoLine pods. So you can do either pod in this machine and select what you want back there. So it does this, but you're only going to get a small quantity through this, even in the lower system. But when you want to do a coffee, you got to put a bigger pod in. These bigger coffee pods are kind of specific to the lower system, and you're kind of limited on flavors. Now the 2 with the most flavor, Keurig K-cups have the absolute most variety and flavors. followed next by the original line. But again, it's going to be an espresso shot, not a cup of coffee. The VertuoLine, this is really starting to expand some more, but you're kind of limited on flavors. And these machines are very capable. And there's all kinds of pod sizes. Typically, you're going to run an espresso pod or a coffee, like an 8-ounce coffee. They do have some that will go a lot higher, larger quantities, and the pods are bigger. I typically don't see those very much. I typically see the coffee pods and the espresso pods. But they have and not every coffee maker does all the pods. Some only do 3 sizes, some do 5. Now with the original line, you got to see what size they want you to brew these on. Now I've brewed them on either or, but on the back, this will say you can brew this as an espresso, which is a single shot. And this one over here is a lungo, but I've brewed this one on a lungo and it tastes fine. And I brewed this one on a espresso and it tastes fine. Let's talk reusable pods. So if you want to use your own coffee grounds, K-cups have a ton of reusable pods you can put your own coffee in. Nespresso pods, you're going to be using the actual pod. Take the foil off, take the coffee out when it's done brewing. You're going to save that bottom part and you're going to put a new foil across there. Those work okay. These are a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to get in a coffee into they do have reusable pods for these machines, but it is kind of tricky and hard to use, but you can. Now you may see some Keurigs out there with 5-needle multi-brew. They take the same K-cup that a Keurig takes with a single needle. Okay, so let's talk taste. Again, I'm not a coffee taste expert. I kind of go off the comments I see. I talk to family members. My sister really loves the Vertuo machine. And what I have found is, so if you've been using a K-cup for a while and then you start to find the coffee might be a little weak, you're looking for something a little stronger, maybe looking for a little more intense coffee flavor, that's when I see people go into this machine. This crema on the top, again, I've not gotten accustomed to it yet. Maybe that's because the flavors are kind of limited, but boy, people that love these absolutely love these. And I love my Keurig machine with my Just a Dad Simple Sip coffee, and it tastes really good. And I love my iced coffees with these. Either one of these will make a great iced coffee, but these are just so much smaller, take up a lot less room. But with the Keurig, so many different flavors. And their Keurig machines are starting to come out with these options. It's got a shot button. It's going to run 3 ounces through a coffee K-cup to give you an espresso shot. It's not an espresso shot, but it's a concentrated coffee. These kind of mimic an espresso shot. They're pumping that water in there under pressure, and you're getting that crema on the top. I don't know a whole lot about just centrifugal force, and the coffee it does seem to be very rich and flavorful. I don't drink black coffee yet, so I typically think if you drink black coffee, you're probably going to want to start going to this if you're looking for a more intense flavor or something. The lower system was very good. I think you're just limited by the pod you're going to get. Thankfully, they do have the original line. And again, Nespresso has 2 pods, original line and Vertuo. I don't know how to pronounce it. I keep pronouncing it wrong. Once you start pronouncing something wrong, it's hard to break. And I don't know why you would make a pod that maybe was hard to pronounce, but for me, it's hard to pronounce. 2 pods, original line, Vertuo. The original line, from what I see in the news, when the patent is gone, that's why you see all kinds of pods for this now. The floodgates are open. Same with Keurig. Keurig lets people make K-cups, all types of K-cups. This machine is very specific on the pod you have to use. It has to be from them and manufactured from, I still think they hold the patent for those pods. I don't even know where they're made. Are they made in Italy and then shipped over? I don't know all that. They seem fresh when I get them out and make a cup of coffee. So again, these pods were very, very confusing to me when I first started making coffee and very intimidating. That's the reason I made this video. I don't want you to be intimidated. I want to help you. You know, you go into the coffee aisle, you do have to look closely. Original line. I mean, it'll say Nespresso pod and you'll buy it and bring it home and it doesn't work, doesn't fit. Original line and then this Vertuo. I am seeing 2 kinds of, maybe 2 or 3 kinds of Starbucks for this now. I'm even seeing this machine and the pods are starting to show up in Walmart, that and Target. They've been in Target for a while, but for this machine to start showing up in Walmart, that's a big deal. K-cups have been in there a long time. That tells me that there's a huge demand. And these machines, from what I'm seeing, they're selling a lot of these machines. They do have a descale mode. If the machine stops working, you need to descale it. These are very simple to use. The lower system was a very good system. I typically stay around these three machines. Iced coffee, this one, if you're looking for a more intense flavor. The Keurigs, you just can't be a Keurig. They're so fast, so easy. And with the new milk frothers, this one's got a milk frother built in. You can make some really good lattes and cappuccinos. Adding a milk frother to this one, it's usually a standalone. You can make some really good drinks too. But this one, from what I can tell from people, is if you're looking for an intense, strong cup of coffee, 8 ounces it's like 7 point something. It's not a true 8 ounces, but I call it an 8 because typically a Keurig, I brew an 8 ounce. That's the right amount for me. But Keurig puts other buttons there so you can brew whatever you'd like. So 8 ounce intense cup of coffee with crema on the top. You don't get crema with, that's that foam, that kind of coffee foam. I don't like that coffee foam. So you don't get that with a Keurig. You do get that with this espresso shot, but typically I couldn't drink that. I got to throw that right into a cappuccino or latte, this is some of my best iced coffees have been in this. Even though that's hot, you throw that into a big thing full of ice, tumbler full of ice, it cools it off, put your milk in there. Very, very nice. I love the intensity of the coffee I get from this. These make good cappuccinos, lattes, and iced coffees also, but I feel like the intensity is a little bit more with these Nespresso machines. So again, be sure and check out my Just a Dad Simple Sip coffee. It's working really well. I really love the taste of it. It's a dark Brazilian roast, so I hope you can check that out at justadadcoffee.com. So thanks everybody for watching my video today. Underneath the video, if you could hit the thumbs up button, that really helps out my YouTube channel. Again, you can purchase all this coffee right below the video. You'll see links to them, or go to justadadcoffee.com. I really do appreciate everybody's support. Recently, YouTube just sent me my 100,000 subscriber plaque. That would not be possible without everybody's support. So again, I really appreciate it. I'm excited for this new adventure, branding my own coffee. It tastes really good, and I hope you're gonna definitely like it. Again, hoping somebody asks you what your favorite cup of coffee is. It's Just a Dad Simple Sip Coffee. And again, thanks so much for watching the YouTube channel. Also, be sure and check out my Just a Dad Videos group page on Facebook. This is where I do my free giveaways. So when I'm done with my products, I do a free giveaway on there, and you can kind of see behind the scenes of how I make my videos. Also, check out my podcast, Coffee with Dad Podcast. This is where I interview different people. I love to hear everybody's story, and I just think everybody has a story they want to tell. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and thanks so much. Miss Fiona always knows when I'm doing a recording.